Hello, Brad here, just to say we're super proud that the Friday 5pm podcast is sponsored by the Malt Miller, the UK's best home brew store.
We use the Malt Miller for all of our homebrew experiments, as well as tapping them up for advice and binging on their awesome YouTube channel all the time.
That's why whenever we release a homebrew video, we put a recipe kit live on the Malt Miller, so you can brew with the exact same amazing ingredients that we did. The same ingredients used by pro brewers.
So alongside the Malt Miller's nitro-flushed hops, cold-stored yeast and milled-to-order malts, you can pick up recipe kits for our 5 Points Best Bitter, Russian River West Coast IPA, and now the fastest beer in the world, a hazy session IPA that goes from grain to glass in less than 48 hours.
Sign up to their newsletter at tinyurl.com/Malt Miller to get 5% off your first order. With the Malt Miller's amazing customer service and Johnny's 48-hour recipe, you could order the ingredients on a Monday and be drinking the beer by the weekend.
Speaking of which, it's Friday.
It's 5pm.
So enjoy this week's Friday 5pm podcast. It's Thursday, it's 12:41pm. And it's time to have the first beer of the weekend.
Oh, we're starting it with, it's basically Christmas now, Johnny, so we're starting on a Thursday. Thursday is the new Friday. Isn't that what they used to say when people actually went into offices? Thursday.
Yeah, because on Friday you go home and enjoy your weekend. On Thursday you get a bit drunk and claim that you just were working in the office late. Yeah.
You get absolutely mashed, fall asleep on the last train home, and then end up back in the centre of London in a nightmare situation.
Yeah. Do you know, actually, I fell asleep on the train on the way back from the Guild of British Beer Writers Awards, and thankfully I woke up at Stevenage, which is, stops before my actual stop.
A pleasant place to wake up to.
Yeah, I could have been in Cambridge. Again, Stevenage, less so, but I was reassured that I hadn't passed my house. But yeah, I could have ended up in Cambridge that night at 2 a.m.
Damn. That's crazy that you've got a train that runs that late anyway. I think that's pretty good.
God bless the airports, hey?
Yeah. Worst places to end up, I imagine. Cambridge is probably all right. You could probably get away with
There'd be a Premier Inn somewhere.
Yeah, you could get away with something. I reckon probably people are so posh there. I reckon there's probably umbrellas lying around everywhere, Johnny. Could have fashioned
umbrellas?
Sort of, yeah.
Do posh people use more umbrellas?
I reckon so. Like the nice ones with the big handles on them, with maybe like a duck on the end, like carved in or something.
Yeah,
although,
you can buy from that one inexplicable shop is it in Fitzrovia?
I think it's called Fox and Son or something. It's is it New Oxford Street or something? It's near Centrepoint, and it's an amazing building. It's really
looks
beautiful.
like something like it could have been in like a Conan Doyle kind of book.
Yeah. It
looks
100%.
like it's from out of time.
It's totally a lost in time kind of thing. An umbrella shop for gentlemen, or out of like a Kingsman movie. You know, like there's a secret handle. We pull one of the handles, and then there's a special room with loads of.
I presume the New World Order or something, because I don't know how they'd afford the rent otherwise.
Good. Yeah, right. That's a good point. It should probably be shut at this point, because unless that canny umbrella maker bought that 300 years ago.
Well, also, as we've established, if you use posh umbrellas, you're clearly very wealthy.
That's true.
So maybe you came from money.
I would like one of those umbrellas, Johnny. And I'm not an umbrella user. Do you, like, if it's raining, do you actually bother taking an umbrella out? I guess it depends how hard it's raining and what you're wearing.
I don't own an umbrella. I don't. My wife must, but no.
Yeah, we're not umbrella people. I think you're either an umbrella
just get a proper
person.
coat. Just get a proper coat, people.
Or wear a hat. You can wear a hat. A hat or whatever, or just let the rain come down. Let it
like Shawshank style. Just embrace it.
Embrace the rain. But I think that's the thing, right? That's a defining thing: is you're an umbrella person or not. You're a shorts in winter person or not.
I hate
those weirdos. I wish I was one of them.
How about sandals in breweries kind of person? Is that kind of person?
Oh, come on. I'm gonna say a croc. Like, I'm not a croc wearer. You wear a croc, don't you, or a sort of similar to a croc?
Well, I have slip-ons to go from the house to the Brudio. Yeah.
Yeah. I've lately watched. I can't remember who the creator is, but he's a guy who makes lots of like semi-useless inventions online, and he likes accessorizing his crocs. And he makes little things that fit through the holes, the ventilation holes on the front. So like 3D print, like ways to hold bicycle tools on his Crocs because he rides bicycles a lot. He's also 3D printed, which looks really cool, a beer holder for a bicycle mount. Where
I thought you were going to say to go on the Crocs. I was like, that's a recipe.
No,
for
that would be
beer.
good. That would be pretty good.
It would need to have like a gyro in it to keep your beer level.
Yeah. Gyroscopic Crocs. Yeah, that would be innovation right there. But yeah, he's made these 3D printed click in, click out beer can holders, and he's made them for like different ones, like tall boys and little 330s. I was thinking of reaching out to him, but yeah, pretty good.
These sound like more than semi-useful.
I mean, they sound great, and I think he was sponsored by a big American brewery to create those. I can't remember who it was, Oscar Blue maybe or someone. I don't know. But yeah, they look great. But I don't know how have we got onto this. Umbrellas, Johnny. Umbrellas.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got onto umbrellas, but what have you been up to this week, Johnny?
Well, I mean, I've had a terrible week, as you'll know, because we were supposed to be doing a shoot day today.
Yeah.
And I cancelled, I'd imagine, probably not quite as you were putting your coat on, but pretty close.
It's pretty late in the day.
Yeah.
It's pretty late in the day.
Because on Sunday it was, Saturday, I was going to the dump. We'd done a big pruning of the ivy in my back garden, and I'd loaded it all up in the car. And to load it all up in the car, I had to get my daughter's pram out of the boot. And I put my daughter's pram down by the passenger door, and I was going to put it in there for safekeeping. And I got distracted. My wife came out and said something. 2 different neighbours at different times came out and said something. And I was just, I was chatting away and then just got in the car, drove off straight over my daughter's pram.
Oh, man. So hang on, where was the pram? It was like underneath the middle of the car or like the back of the car?
So the pram was just outside the passenger door. Right. And for me to reverse out of where I park, I have to turn a corner.
Oh, shit.
So it got caught under the wheel arch of my front left wheel.
Oh, wow. That's quite dramatic. That must have made a nasty crunch.
It really did.
Did you know what was happening? Did you realise instantly, or was it like, I don't know what that noise was? Oh my god, what's happened?
No, I didn't realise at all because my car's got a little camera in the back, so I can see it out the back. So I was like, I cannot see what I'd hit. My first instinct was like I'd left my food bin out from Friday's bin day, and I'd run over that.
Yeah.
I wish.
Damn.
I wish it had been the food bin. No, it was the £400 pram.
Oh dear, Johnny, what was the model? Maybe if you give a shout out, you might get sent another one.
It's a yo-yo. Oh my god.
Yo-yo.
Yeah.
Yo-yo. Well, that's a brand, is it?
Yeah, a brand of child transport.
Yeah.
I can't remember the brand. It's the really small one. Do you know? It's the one that really rich people use because it packs up so small. Yeah. You can take it on a flight. It's luggage.
Oh, that's
what's
good.
It? Cabin compliant.
That's
so
good.
Lots of rich people have their main pram, and then they have this one for when they go on holidays to, I don't know, the Caribbean. We just have it as our main pram because we wanted something really small that, you might not notice should you run over it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great idea until Saturday.
Well, have you chucked it? Is there anything salvageable from it?
I mean, there's
wheels?
Because it's all sort of one piece anyway. There's not a lot that's kind of salvageable from it. So it's dead.
See, you should have got one of those Victorian style ones, Johnny, where they're massive bassinet type things. That's like a vehicle in itself, and then you couldn't run it over.
Well, I mean, there are probably some prams that would have done more damage to the car than the car did to the pram. But we didn't have that. So anyway, then my wife was driving yesterday and was like, I can hear something sounds like something's dragging on the ground of the car.
Oh,
so I, the well-trained mechanic that I am, got my skateboard out, went under the car. And
did you actually? You couldn't get your head under the car, presumably, right?
No,
you just sort of creaked your neck a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Just sort of bent over.
Did you go? Well, that's broken. That is, mate. It's obviously broken, isn't it?
I was obviously on my best behaviour because I just cost the family £400.
Yeah.
So I was like, I am terribly sorry, but I do believe that there might be a bit of plastic hanging down, and we should get that checked. So the only time that it could be seen was the time that we were supposed to be doing our shoot.
So that's we got there in the end. That's why we're not filming today, is because you ran over your thing. Exactly. I wish I was there, Johnny, because I would have shouted at you. You can't park there, mate. Have you seen all of these? That seems to be a thing now. People do to really piss people off if they've had an accident or something. They will.
Oh, it's
shout
like a joke.
people.
It's like you can't park there.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't park there, mate. When someone's like had an accident, you can't, like, they've got up on the curb or something. They've hit a lamppost. Not at like high speed, but low speed.
Yeah, so they've appraised the situation and gone, nobody's dead, I can make this gag.
Yeah.
Right,
like, there's a few videos of people that are stoned and stuff that have, they've come unstuck because they've, whatever. And then people have gone up to them and said, you can't park there, mate. Which I think is quite a good British dry bit of humour, that.
Yeah, it is. It's very much the driving equivalent of going way when somebody drops a glass.
Yeah. Which we don't endorse, but
only idiots do that.
I can't wait till I can say you can't park there, mate, to someone. Maybe. No, I wouldn't. It's too mean. But I like, it's quite...
Yeah, I mean, they're having a rough... I mean, speaking...
They're having a rough time, yeah.
Speaking of, how I felt on Saturday. So then that night, I went into London and met a friend for a beer. I actually went to the Robin, which is used to be called the Brave Sir Robin, in Crouch Hill, Crouch End, can't remember, the one nearest Finsbury Park, and went to the pub that's now being run by the former manager of the Southampton Arms.
Yeah, I remember he's gone there now, right? So it's good.
So he owns that. That's his pub now. It's his own thing.
Oh, wow.
Which is exciting for Nick. And it was glorious. Absolutely glorious. I had a delicious pint of Track Sonoma cask.
Oof, that is nice. And
a delicious bitter from Kembury. And I had a pint of Colonel Pale. I bumped into David Jesser-Darson, British Beer Writer of the Year. He was drinking plum porter.
There you go.
And then I started looking at trains to go home. This was at about 7:30ish. I was like, I'll go home early because I'm always already in trouble. And all the trains were cancelled.
Oh dear.
So there was one final train. Usually I can get home direct from Finsbury Park. There was one final train that was stopping in my hometown, that was going from King's Cross. In fact, no, it didn't. It didn't stop near my house. I had to go to Luton, God forbid, and get a taxi from Luton. But so I literally ran to Finsbury Park, got the tube, and it was when I got off at King's Cross. What I didn't realise is this was the last northern-bound train from King's Cross that day.
Oh wow!
And it was at 8:12.
Wow, that is
on a Saturday night.
Insane.
So imagine what King's Cross was like.
Well, hopefully there are a lot of umbrellas that people could have fashioned.
For what? Leaping down the escalators.
Maybe Mary Poppins style form of transport.
Yeah, that would have been easier.
Whisk them home.
And then obviously you're packed in like sardines. You have to get off at Luton, which is possibly the only place I'd prefer. I'd rather not get off at compared to Stevenage. And then I got a taxi, but in the taxi I got chatting about my pram incident.
Oh dear!
And the guy was like, "I know a Mitsubishi, a Japanese car specialist." Sorry, the driver had a Mitsubishi. A Japanese car specialist. You just go there and he'll have a look and he'll sort you out. So there was a little bit of kind of. Well, I was going to say cosmic karma. That would imply I'm a nice person. Not necessarily. Certainly not as far as my family are currently concerned. But, so I'm glad I went for that pint. And I'm glad I called for a taxi, and I'm glad I went to Luton, Bradley.
You're glad you run over your... Oh, no, you're not glad you run over everything. But
no, that still hurts.
sometimes these things align, you know? Like, you have a bit of bad luck, and then you think you're having a bit of bad luck, and then it comes back in. You're like, oh, cool, now I've got a great tip of where to go and get my electronic motor sorted out.
Exactly. Hybrid motor.
Hybrid
motor. Talking of bad luck, bad news. I've had some bad beer news this week.
Yeah.
That Ringwood Brewery is going to be closed.
That's sad.
The actual brewery itself will be. They'll still... so it's owned by Marston's, which is now part owned by Carlsberg in a joint venture that is just Carlsberg buying it, I think. So they're closing Ringwood because they couldn't find a buyer. They were looking to offload it. And most people are probably shrugging at the loss of Ringwood Brewery, a beer that you might recognise from like the real ale section of a supermarket, but never really drunk any. But they're quite a significant brewery in the history of British brewing. They... well, I mean, actually, I was having a look at their Wikipedia page to get all my facts straight. On that, they compare Ringwood to Anchor Brewing and Hogarden Brewing for kickstarting the modern brewing revolutions of America and Belgium. I think that's exceptionally strong. But what's interesting about Ringwood, A, their yeast is used in all kinds of beers all over the world. But B, Peter Austin, who founded it, was also a brewing consultant who helped construct and commission countless breweries around the UK and in the US. So Peter Austin is perhaps the greater that had a greater impact on the British brewing scene and American brewing scene. And he's laughing because he sold the business for nearly 20 million 20 years ago. But yeah, it's a sad day because these are, it's a special brewery with a special bit of history behind it. And again, it's another example of I guess the wrong brewery buying it and then closing it 16 years later. It's I think our stance and the stance of most craft beer fans has softened a little bit on the larger brewers. But this is still absolutely gutting to see. And I don't know how much of it is Carlsberg, how much of it is Marston's. Marston's have form and this kind of thing. But it's sad either way, and it shows that at least when it's an independent brewery, you've got a reason to survive. Whereas as soon as you're owned by somebody else, they don't have the attachment that say the founders or a family business might.
It's a tough one. I feel sorry for anyone that works there. I mean, this is the thing, and if you're like a cog in a wheel, and you've got someone who's sold their brewery to a big boy. You probably people may still work there from before. I don't know, and they've kind of it could mean a lot to a lot of people, and then they're kind of just caught up in this stuff, Johnny, that's happening. But yeah, I mean, I can't say I've drunk a lot of Ringwood in my time, but I can appreciate the sort of cultural importance of them for this little thing called beer that we both love. It's a sad time.
Yeah, and that it doesn't have enough cultural impact to be protected or anything, so the buildings will probably be torn down, started again, or redeveloped, and it's just another bit of history sort of torn out. And it's not been a good time for British brewing in terms of the history with the essentially the National Archive of Brewing that was up in Burton being closed. Although I think they found a new site for that now at last, but it's not happy times for beer history or indeed beer future. But the Craft Beer Channel is doing its best to
prop it up, Johnny. We're propping it up.
Exactly. And this week, and indeed next week, we're doing huge services to the history of Belgian beer.
We certainly are.
So next week's video is our 32.5-minute documentary.
Oof.
About St. Bernardus Brewing.
That is exciting.
It's actually going out early for our wonderful Patreon subscribers. It's going to come out for you folk on Friday. Tomorrow, today, depending on when you're listening.
Yeah. So as you said, we're releasing this on a Thursday, but this is Friday, 5 p.m. And I think it's nice to be able to sort of give a little bit of a Patreon exclusive
Yeah, Patreon
Normal-
perk. If you
no-
if
yeah.
you want to
No-
watch this video before everybody else, you could join our Patreon
Oh,
now and see it.
nice.
You could see it right now for the miserly sum of $2.
That is nice, Johnny. That's a nice link there. Yeah, it's nice that most of the time we're struggling to try and put out a video a week. So it's hard to sort of get ahead or anything like that to allow a Patreon early preview, but I do like it. I went to a world premiere last night, Johnny. It's a link.
Yeah,
it's a link.
I've been talking almost non-stop in this podcast in a bid to avoid this conversation, but let's do it.
Come on. So I went to see James Blunt documentary made by the same director that made the excellent Bros After the Screaming Stops, After the Shouting Stops. Can't remember what it's called, which was a fly on the wall documentary following the brothers Luke and Matt Goss from Bros. Well, they were Bros, and their very odd sort of mannerisms and interactions with each other. So this one is solely focused on James Blunt, much derided individual. He's too posh for pop, Johnny. That was what he was a lot of the time. Too posh for pop. That was kind of what they said about him. And he did have a very annoying voice. I'm not a fan of James Blunt's music, but I'm
not even sure James Blunt is, to be honest.
Well, from his Twitter feed, which if anyone, maybe American viewers haven't come across James Blunt, I don't know. I think he's pretty massive everywhere.
Oh no, he must be big in the States. Yeah.
But if you haven't found his delightful Twitter feed, or X or whatever we're calling it these days, he is a witty repertoire. I don't know what you would call him. He's a witty little man, isn't he? He's quite short. He's short. Did you know that? He looks tall, but he's very short. Because they kind of take the piss out of him in that. Right. Yeah, he's really short. His wife's quite a lot taller than him as well in the film. But yeah, it's great. Honestly, the guy may be a bit of a national treasure, Johnny. He might be the new Stephen Fry or something. I don't know. He's pretty good. He's very endearing in the film. I must say, it was a one-off, one night only in cinemas world premiere of the documentary. Had a little bit live stream stuff before it, and then after it, he played 3 of his songs. 2 of them I'd never heard of before, and 1 of them I hated. But I mean, I hated all 3 of them, but I just
you just 2 of them were new to you, right? Okay.
Yeah. I didn't know the other 2, but he has got an annoying voice, Johnny. My God. But anyway, he's very entertaining, and I tell you what, there's something about he was in the army, right? He was in I can't remember, the Household Cavalry, I think they're called, and they have a ceremonial role where they do the changing of the guards and all of that stuff, with the horses and whatnot. And then they also have a battle role where they're actually a unit that goes out. He was in Kosovo, and he went there with NATO. He volunteered. He says in the documentary, he was on manoeuvres in Wales in a ditch, and he was freezing. This is what he says. He volunteered to go to Kosovo with a NATO task force to get out of this week-long thing in Wales, because he thought that was a way out of it. And then he led a tank column racing to get to an airport that Russia were also racing to get to take control of the region. And it was pretty full on. He had like loads of video clips, but it was good.
You'd think his music would have more edge, given that that's the kind of life he led.
I tell you what, I don't know his music. One of the rubbish tunes that I didn't like, Johnny. The lyrics were about war and and like death, and it was really dark actually. Like, it was kind of had the lyrics up on the screen, and it was about like shallow graves, and like, because he literally it was ethnic cleansing, man. Like, he was there, they had to like identify and what's the thing, resume bodies, I don't know what the word is, from shallow graves, like mass graves, horrible stuff, to help identify people. And right. Crazy. So the guy, he went to private school at 8 years old. Sorry, boarding school at 8 years old.
was going to say bit late for primary school. 8.
Yeah. Boarding school from 8. So he has like a strange relationship with his parents. They're incredibly posh too, but they're quite endearing. And they ask his dad at one point why he thinks that his music is so popular around the world. And he says, well, James enunciates really well. So anyone can understand what he's saying. I was like, that's hilarious.
It's like, it reminds me of, in the Mr. Bean movie where he ends up having to explain why, well, it's not the Mona Lisa, is it? But some other painting similar is so popular. And he goes, because it's very big.
yeah. It's pretty entertaining. I tell you what, the guys he goes on tour with, he runs it a bit like a military unit. So he was the officer in his unit, or whatever. He was in charge of, I think, 400 men or something at one point. And he leads his troop, his tour bus, as like a little army, right? But also, he likes to have fun, Johnny. So it seems like every night they get pissed. So they're drinking beers like all the time in this documentary. I don't know how he's not like massive. He looks like he loves getting on the lash, and all of his tour buddies do too. He's managed to avoid doing a lot of drugs, although apparently he's got a little bugle thing, which apparently he did snort drugs in. So it's like a little bugly type thing. I think Ed Sheeran says he's seen it. Ed Sheeran's
seen James Blunt's bugle. Right, okay.
Yeah. So he's seen this bugle, this drug snorting bugle. Anyway, so I don't know why I've got onto that. He owns a pub, Johnny.
Right, you never know why. That's never the issue.
He owns a pub, Johnny. He presented a program about beer as well, didn't he? So he likes
Brewmasters,
beer.
Yeah.
He does like beer.
Yeah, it's a homebrewing show with is it Amazon Prime?
Yeah, I think
it's an Amazon Prime show, and it's good. It's good. I mean, obviously, it has Jager from Wildcard, who brings a kind of gravity to it, and he's very much the levity.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good, and I'm currently on the Fox and Pheasant in Chelsea, his pub, beer list.
Go on.
It's all right. The Real Ale, Harvey's Best, Tribute, Landlord.
Nice. You can't go wrong with them.
They're like the 3 best big-hitting cask ales in the country. He is charging £6 for a pint of Landlord, though.
Oof,
not sure about that. He's also got 5 Points Jupiter on, which I think I talked about maybe last week, saying it was tasting great.
Yeah.
He's got Hawkstone Lager, which is Jeremy Clarkson's beer. He's got La Trappe Double in the fridge.
Wow. Magic
Rock in the fridge.
Johnny, I think we need to make a James Blunt pub video, right, where we go and have a pint with him.
There could be a video in like pubs owned by celebrities, because obviously there's who's
from Lord of the Rings owns one, doesn't he?
Dude from Lord of the Rings, Sir Ian McKellen.
Yeah. Ian McKellen, that's the one.
The director of movies I don't really like. He was married to Madonna. Guy Ritchie. He's got a pub, as well, hasn't he? He has a brewery called, I think it's called Gritchy.
Gritchy, yeah.
There could be something in like celebrity-owned beers or bars or breweries, or we would never put him on the channel, but that absolute arsehole from Ireland, the Ultimate Fighter,
McGregor, yeah.
He now owns what was the Porterhouse in Ireland and is releasing his beer, his Nitro Stout, all over the country. We got approached by the PR, and I said, "You do not need to ever send me any emails about this again."
Island's Edge or something it's called, isn't it? I think something like that.
Yes, no, Forged, isn't it?
Oh, maybe Forged. Sorry, there's another one I think called Island's Edge or something.
Yeah, that was Heineken's approach to take on Guinness. I think Island's Edge. But yeah, so there are lots of celebrities. I don't know whether they look at beer and think that's easy money, and then learn very quickly it's an easy way to lose money, or whether they're just wealthy enough that the losing money doesn't matter, and they're just I just want to own a brewery.
Honestly, Blunty, as he's wearing a hoodie that says Blunty on it at certain points, which I thought was pretty good. Blunty, he's up for the crack, mate. He basically says, I was in boarding school with boys, with the lads since I've been 8. Then I was in the army with a bunch of lads, and then I became a pop artist, and I'm just on tour with the lads. I just like being out with the lads and having a beer.
I mean,
It's
he must
basically what he
be
says.
sort of institutionalized into never being alone.
Yeah. So he always has like, they say he's incredibly fastidious, and he has like, I think he has 2 pairs of jeans rolled up, 3 like t-shirts rolled up at all times, and that's like what he wears basically when he's on tour and stuff.
Plus a jumper with Blunty on it.
Plus a jumper that says Blunty on it, which
Yeah.
apparently his dad used to be on the merch stall, which I cannot believe that's true, but it's very sweet if it is true. And what else? I can't remember what else. But anyway, I didn't see him drinking any good beers, Johnny. I saw him drinking a Corona, and they were drinking tinnies of something macro at some point, which I've forgotten. So he wasn't drinking any good beer on the road. He was drinking Corona and whatnot. But they look like they had such a great time. They're all talking about being hungover, like every day, and not condoning sort of drinking to excess or anything. But he basically, I don't think he cares that much about how he sounds and the music. So he just likes going away and having a good time. Which I thought was a kind of a good philosophy if you don't like your own music that much.
I mean, we're laughing about the idea that a musician might not like their music, but that must be. I mean, I'll tell you an example of this. Not an example you're going to be expecting, but at the only music venue in my hometown next summer, Busted are playing.
I mean, I don't like Busted, mate.
No, but nobody likes Busted. I don't think Busted like Busted. It's one of those situations again. There must be so many people like this.
I reckon loads of people like Busted.
Well, loads of people like James Blunt. He's one of the biggest selling artists of the 19th century.
I think he's the
oh
biggest,
my God, 21st century.
Biggest selling artist in the last decade in the UK.
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Could be. It's him or Ed, I'd imagine, yeah.
Ed might have overtaken him at this point, but he was, it was Oasis the decade before, so we're probably talking 2010s maybe rather than 2020s. Yeah, I think he was the biggest selling UK artist of the 2010s.
There you go. So these people are wildly popular, but they don't have to like their own music. Because what's this guy with the eyebrows? Charlie from Busted? Left because he was like, I hate the music. And then he had... He? Oh, yeah. He because he founded a not a very heavy metal band called Fight Star, which I actually ended up seeing at university because they were supporting Funeral for a Friend.
Mm-hmm.
They're all right.
Well, yeah.
No, I mean, if you like the very clean-cut, very heavy form of emo, which I know you hate, Fight Star were all right. But now he's back because I guess the money ran out or something. So he's like, let's do Busted again. I've got to make it to the year 3000.
Exactly.
Make sure that their 20th album goes multi-platinum, whatever the lyric was.
Is he still handsome? I remember him being quite handsome. But yeah, didn't he have like frosty tips hair? Blonde hair.
We're going past my memory. All I remember is eyebrows and the fact that at the gig where they were supporting Funeral for a Friend, he got hit by a shoe.
That's great.
Yeah,
wow.
which I think is a bit unfair.
Hopefully it was like a big goth boot?
I would say it was because I remember at the time being like, oh my God, I think they were Air Jordans. They're like big red and white, like Nike style boots.
Wow.
Like, so you've got to really colour. Not like Charlie.
Wow. They're quite expensive shoes to be chucking as well.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then obviously you've got one shoe on for the rest of a gig, which is about to turn into a mosh pit because Funeral for a Friend were about to play.
Or potentially forever, because they might be like, fuck, F you can't have your shoe back. I did sort of say it though.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
But I'm trying, Johnny. That's fun. Did you know, Johnny, that today Block Party they've put tickets live to play what's their debut album called? Silent Alarm? Alarm, isn't it? Yeah. Silent Alarm. They've been around for 20 years. They're doing a one-off gig in Crystal Palace Park next July. And they've got Friendly Fires, the Hives as well, I think, and a couple of other bands supporting them. They're playing Silent Alarm in full, and then it says all the hits.
There you go.
I really like I still like Block Party.
I saw them back in the day, and it's one of the best gigs I've ever been to.
Yeah, I've seen them too. They're great. They're like super tight. Although I think now it's not the proper lineup. It's like basically just Kelly and then some other people. I think they got rid of
that drummer,
the beast drummer.
I remember live. Oh, he was so incredible. Damn.
He was good, right? Yeah.
I mean, hopefully they'll do it to the record, so at least it will be the same beats. I saw, for anybody that's into this kind of music, got very, very excited. So is it, I think, 20 years since Transatlanticism by Death Cab for Cutie, and they're doing a tour of that with the Postal Service and their album. So they're doing like a double. I mean, the singer's going to be knackered. He's doing two. He's going to be singing like 24. Like doing 2 sets and like 24 songs. But they're two of my favorite albums. So I'm going to be lining up and paying extortionate fees to whatever ticketing company decides to exploit us all.
Have they already started that? Because I saw someone I follow on Instagram had gone to New York specifically to watch Postal Service and some other band.
Or maybe the tour started and they've announced a UK date or something. I might be slightly behind the times. But,
cool though, if you like that. I mean, I don't mind the Postal Service. They're kind of, the album's all right. Sort of, electronic-y. Yeah. I mean, what about if James Blunt sung Postal Service? Because that guy has got quite a whiny voice anyway, Postal Service man. A few ups.
Yeah, I guess a
kind
little
of,
bit.
It's not whiny, sorry. It's a little bit sort of strained.
Nasal.
It's quite high, nasally, high-pitched.
Yeah. I think James Blunt did do a decent job with some Death Cab songs.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Like, I'll Follow You Into the Dark is kind of up his street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could put a little Blunty take on it. I reckon that'd go down well. He could probably tour with them. That'd be good. He could take over the Postal Service singing role.
Right, just to give the guy a break.
Yeah.
That's a nice thought.
Oh, it's just reminded me. There's talking about doing 2 gigs or whatever the same night. There's a great bit in the Blunty documentary where his drummer has been with him since the beginning. I think he's called...
Probably the most bored drummer in pop history.
No, because he doesn't care. He's like Blunty. They love getting drunk and stuff.
What if the job description was like, "Do you like my music? No, you're in."
Dude, he met him in a pub, and he was like, he didn't listen to any of his band play. He just met him, had a drink with them, see if he could get along with them. If he liked them, he just took them on tour, see how it worked out. That's how he rolls.
Wow.
So he didn't actually listen to how any of them sound.
Do you think James Blunt's pub is just full of people trying to get into his band now?
I mean, I thought, I was like...
You thought you'd turn up with a triangle or some maracas, do a best?
Well, I thought, look, if I'd never thought I'd feel this way, but I almost thought if I was going to be in a band, Johnny, and be a gigging musician, I want to be in James Blunt's band. It looked like so much fun, honestly. It looked great. The guy's called like Mike Brazil or something insane. His name's really weird. He's a northern fella, and he doesn't come to like the Stuttgart gig or something because Robbie Williams has stolen him for 2 shows.
Oh my god!
So they have to get a stand-in drummer.
So this guy, I mean, sure, the story's probably true. He didn't listen to him play, but yeah, James Blunt must have been like, "Oh, your resume is insane, so clearly I don't need to hear you play."
Probably.
It wasn't like he just met a guy in a pub and said, "Yeah, I can play drums."
Yeah, I don't know.
Because if you ask me in a pub, I'll tell you I can play drums.
I'm pretty sure at one point the guy who's the bass player says he was busking in New York when he met Blunt. And then he got him off the street busking. I'm sure he says that. Like I was a little bit distracted when that guy was talking, but I'm sure that's what he said. I think he's rogue. I think he just likes people and then goes for it, Johnny. So basically we need to make this celeb spotting thing where we go around to all the different pubs and bars and breweries owned by them. And we need to get in Blunty's band.
Do you know what? I'm gonna.
You could do it. You could do it.
When I put this podcast out into the world, I'm gonna tag him. I'm gonna say,
please do.
Hi James, I have a beer podcast, but for 1 week, I have a beer podcast that never talks about beer, And for 1 week, we mostly talked about you, Blunty.
Yeah.
Have a listen. See if you think that, if your drummer ever lets you down again, Johnny's up for it.
Well, you've got a great voice, Johnny. You could help him sing.
Oh, you want me on backing vocals?
Just help him sing.
Right, okay.
No, I don't mean that. I actually really like him now. If you do listen to this, James.
I mean, it's clear, Brad, because this podcast is now is now getting towards the average length of our podcasts. Yeah. And
he's right up there. David
I'd say
Attenborough,
80% of it has been Blunt.
Stephen Fry, David Attenborough, other luminaries of our great land. He's up there
You're
now
insane.
for me.
You're insane. I'm going to rein it in. I'm going to rein this back in. And I'm going to say...
You realise we didn't even talk about what we were going to talk about.
No, I know. That's why I'm reining it in. Because I need to do the intro to the podcast 39 minutes in. So it's Friday. It's 5 p.m. And before we get stuck into this podcast, I just want to remind you that tomorrow/today, we are hosting a Christmas party at the Beer Merchant's Tap from 7:30 p.m., launching our Omnipollo collab Brad's Breakfast, which is a coffee, cinnamon, vanilla, and coconut imperial stout.
Boom.
There might be some mince pies if I get my arse in gear. Otherwise, we'll be slinging merch and having a nice time. It's nothing big and official. We were hoping it would be a little proper tasting and stuff, but with everything going on, it's just going to be a beer launch. Come meet us.
You know what it is, Johnny? It's a Christmas drink with friends, isn't it? Because
Christmas drink with your friends, yeah.
That's what you do, isn't it? You try and go like, all right, mate, I haven't seen you in 2 years, but we are best friends, so let's go and have a pint. It's one of them. But you get to, we're all going to go and have a pint.
It's like a Christmas party where there's more plus ones than there are people that work in the office.
Yeah,
so it's you, me, and 30 or 40 plus ones.
Love it. Love it.
Perfect. So, yes, Beer Merchant's Tap, one of the best pubs in London, just off Hackney Wick. They've now opened that little corridor so that you can go from Hackney Wick Station to the Beer Merchant's Tap in a matter of moments. If it's raining, you won't even need an umbrella. We've gone full circle, Bradley.
Well, but also we've talked about umbrellas a lot. That's good. I like how you brought it back to umbrella chat.
Yeah.
Do you think we need to come out with umbrella merch? I talked about Aphex Twin merch last week, and that I've got an album that's worth 600 quid. He actually made Aphex Twin umbrellas because he's got a very famous music video called Come to Daddy. Sorry, not Come to Daddy, Window Licker, where he's dancing around in a white sort of Miami kind of suit, doing like weird Michael Jackson dancing to glitchy electronic Aphex Twin music. And at one point he's got an umbrella, and then all the dancers do as well. But I don't think it's even him who's dancing, and they're all wearing his face. It's a really crazy video. I've got that on VHS as well.
Well, let us know, folks at home, if you want some craft beer channel umbrellas.
Or some Aphex. I reckon we'd make more money if we made Aphex Twin
made other people's merchandise. That's probably fair. Right, that's all we've got time for this week, but we do have our epic documentary about St. Bernardus Brewery, and it truly is epic. Like, whatever you think St. Bernardus Brewery looks like, if you haven't seen it, it does not look like what you think it does. It is an insane place, and we're very excited to put it out into the world, and it will be going live tomorrow to all of our Patreons and also all the subscribers to the St. Bernardus newsletter. So enjoy that. It will then go live to everybody else on Tuesday.
Tuesday, St. Bernardus Day.
That is Abbot 12. Abbot 12 Day. So it'll be live on Tuesday for everybody else. We'll have Friday 5 p.m. next week, but that'll probably be recorded on a Thursday as well, because obviously we've got the event on the Friday. And then we have, final piece of news, our live show the Friday after that. So our live YouTube show, annual Christmas live show. The tasting boxes are selling really well, so well that we've actually had to replace the Stille Nacht, Bradley.
Oh, really?
Stille Nacht sold out already.
Oh, man.
So if you weren't quick enough, you're getting something else delicious and boozy that's to be decided. But you can still pick up that
Friday
case.
Friday the 15th, isn't it, Johnny?
Friday the 15th. So our event is on the 8th. Our in-person event on the 8th, and our YouTube live show on the 15th.
Yes.
So pick up the drink along box. That link is in the descriptions box of this podcast and all over social. And we'll see you on the 15th. That's everything.
You're beautiful. It's
nice.
true.
I'd love to quote something else by James Blunt, but that's the only lyric I
know. We love you, Blunty. Stay
Can't wait
yourself,
to tour with you, buddy.
You short king.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Love and beer, and I guess apologies to everyone out there. Bye. The Bubble and Friday 5pm podcasts are brought to you by the nerds behind YouTube's craft beer channel. You can watch over 400 mini documentaries at youtube.com/thecraftbeerchannel, and if you love what we do, support us via Patreon and get access to merchandise and our amazing Discord forum, a positive and welcoming space for everyone who loves beer, food and homebrewing. Love and beer.